Mark Dog, good morning, sir. What up, what up? Welcome, welcome. Cardio Q&A. Taking it easy this week, easing my way back into it. Just strolling, 30 minutes or so. Nathan, what's up, bro? Looking good in that throwback champion BSL shirt. I like it. Oh no, 10% battery. My battery on my watch didn't charge last night. That's a bummer. That's a bummer. How are you guys doing on this fine Thursday morning? I had a very good back workout today. Got a little tendonitis going on right in here. And a little twinge right in here. But other than that, had a good one today. Had a very good one. Working this back to health. I hold more fat on the back of my body than the front of my body. I've always been like that. My back seems to lean out the slowest. Just took a little stroll around the neighborhood with Marissa and baby Enzo. Had a little bit of a mist going on out there. Today we are going to get some imaging done on his hips again, see how the first 2 weeks in the brace has gone. Go over to the orthopedic after that. Oh, I'm glad that you have had compliments on the shirts, Nathan. That makes me happy. Mark Dog, let's see. Curious to know, what is your favorite leg extension machine brand? I tried the Real Leader plate load at the Ulster Pompano and loved it. So, you know, over the years, I haven't typically liked plate-loaded leg extensions as much as I do of the selectorized leg extensions. You know, honestly, I used to really like the old Nautilus one. It was hard as hell. Trying to think of who makes a really good one. I have a decent one in my gym. I have a pretty decent one in my gym. I wasn't really a fan of the hammer strength plate loaded ones. You know, I kind of like the hoist equipment for leg extensions. Those are kind of neat. Yeah, you know, it's tough because I find that most of the new stuff just isn't as good as the old school stuff. It's really not. It's just not as good. You know, I'll tell you, being down in Pompano and going into Athletic Factor, they've got a really, really good leg extension in there, but I'm not sure off my head what brand it is. Nathan says, if you had an employee who was discreetly drinking on the job, would you cut them loose or try to learn more about the situation, get them help? I would absolutely try to get them help. I'm very, very understanding and compassionate of substance abuse issues. Been very, very present in my life for a long time. I had lost my childhood best friend, overdosed when we were 25, and there's been quite a lot of it in my life. So I would find a way to see how you could help that person. You know, and I'll tell you guys, when I was going through my divorce, I was a functioning alcoholic. And a lot of people didn't even know. A lot of people didn't know that I was day drinking at one point at the office, still getting shit done. And, you know, it's a slippery slope once it gets to that point when you're day drinking like that, you know? It's one thing if you're like, I'll go home from work, let off some steam, but when it turns into you need it to go through the day, that's bad news. You know, it's typically going to be a situation where the person really, really needs some help. So I would try to find a way to help that person. Now, I've also been in situations, Nathan, you got to be ready for this also. Some people do not want help. They do not want help. And I've given basically the tough love options to a couple people where I was like, listen, I will get you into rehab. I will pay for it for you. But if you don't go, you're out. That's it. That's where I'm at with it. I'm not going to support you and your habit anymore. And sometimes they got to go. Sometimes they got to go. I had a massage therapist that developed a really bad problem. And it was sad. You guys may have seen her in the videos over the years, Deanna. And I watched her deteriorate, and I asked her numerous times, what's going on, what's going on? Then other people started asking what's going on. And then she actually essentially stole money from me. And I told her straight up, listen, I know you got a problem. I know you're on drugs. I will literally pay for you to go to rehab. But if you don't go, we're not working together anymore. And she was just denying it. And I was like, I'm not going to work with you anymore. I'm not going to support your habit. I want to help you, but I'm not going to do this anymore. And she actually wound up overdosing and dying, sadly. A couple years went by. She got worse and worse and worse. And some point last year, she overdosed and died. So let's see. Shout out to Thailand. Oh, okay. What up, Thailand, Didi? My man Tony Hughes lives out there in Thailand. Nathan says, damn, I have someone who is not obvious at all, but drinking throughout the entire day. Upper management is blowing smoke on my ass about it, but I receive more compliments from other employees. So I feel like my hands are tied because I don't have the executive power to make a big decision. Well, is the person a friend? If the person is a friend, I would really try to maybe do something outside of work or find a way to speak to them on a friendly level where you can ease the conversation in and not put them in a position where they're offended by it. Express your concerns. The best thing you can do is to, in prison they call it, in the RDAP program that I was in, they call it a confronting and leveling. And it's when you bring your concerns to somebody and you try to level everything out, right? So what they feel is the worst thing that you can do is turn a blind eye on somebody's addiction. So, I actually in many ways feel like that also. Now, in the prison setting, I think it was a little extreme. There's a lot of guys there that didn't want to be off drugs, and I'm not going to get in their business, But in your family and in your personal life, I do think it's very, very important. So basically, you just go to the person. I give you the breakdown of this is actually the psychiatrist, psychologist, broken down, studied, program way to do it is you tell the person how you feel yourself, right? I feel concerned. I feel sad. I feel worried. I feel scared, right? Whatever you feel, you give your feelings and then you address the behavior. So for instance, in a situation like this, say, listen, Joe, I have to speak to you. I really need to speak to you. I feel very worried and concerned by the drinking that you've been doing during the day, that I've seen you do during the day, right? So then you once you state the behavior, you then list all the consequences. Man, this could get you fired. This could do all sorts of things. And just from a friend standpoint, I'm really worried about your safety and your well-being overall. And you focus on your own feelings so you're not attacking them. Very important. Try to avoid the word you. Address the behavior and your own feelings so they can see that it is actual care and concern. Because if you go at them and you're like, listen, man, I know you're drinking. You're gonna get fired. When you just put them on him, it comes as an attack. And the crazy thing is, man, I actually used this in multiple settings, and it really does work. Excuse me, I got some phlegm today. It actually really does work. So, George says, "What's up, man? How are you? Life and fitness journey going?" Things are going good, George. Thank you for asking. Adjusting to dad life, loving it, loving it. What do I think about the whole thing with Jerry Ward and Boston Lloyd are claimed to be informants that took down performance pesticide or peptides? I mean, can't say that I'm surprised by either one of those guys. You know what I mean? They weren't really quality individuals. I know that Boston Lloyd had a lot of fans, but doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Most people will throw people under the bus, I've learned, to save themselves real quick. You know, really personally, I always thought Jerry Ward was shady as hell. We had some mild exchanges many years ago, before Blackstone Labs. And he was a sketchy ass guy. Do I think that alpha lipoic acid, ALA, can help with blood sugar control when using 2 IUs of HGH per day? Yes, I think it can help. If you remember, the alpha lipoic acid was actually in the original Celtec for that reason back in the 90s and early 2000s. Woo. So yeah, I think it potentially could. Personally, I don't think that there's anything better for blood sugar control than glycolog and the super berberine route. I don't think there's anything even close to it. Yeah, Nathan, you know, sometimes, listen, it can be the hardest thing to do, but sometimes you do something like that, and it can be really rewarding. You know, you might wind up saving the person's life, as dramatic as that sounds, you know? So anyway, we're going down to Joe DiMaggio Hospital for ultrasounds on little baby Enzo's hips and see how they're doing. See if they're gonna put him in a different harness, adjust the one that he's in. He's growing at a good rate. Mass Peanut, what's up? Good morning, man. I had the baby a month ago. Yes, thank you. Thank you for asking. Is there a lot of investigating into research chem sites? Because they seem really popular to me because I'm in the space. But does the average American even have a clue about things like this? No, Nathan, they don't. And that's why there are so many of them and nobody is going to jail when a lot of that is totally illegal. It's totally illegal. If what I went to jail for is illegal, then those guys are way illegal. And now listen, people know I love a lot of these peptides, and there's plenty of stuff on research chem sites that I think is great. With all the connections and everything else that I have over the years, people said, will you ever do anything like this? I said, absolutely not. Because I don't want to go back to jail. The next crop of people that go to prison, those are going to be the ones, and they'll decide who they want to make an example out of, who's going to be the big one. You know, one of these big companies that they'll look at closely and see who's making some real moolah, and that'll typically scare away everybody else. Listen, it sucks. I hope they don't do it. I hope they don't do it. Wishful thinking, though, you know. I think that on the subject of research chems and things like that, I think what has brought more attention to it, it's not the fancy, BPC 157, things like that. It's not any of the specific bodybuilding stuff. Now that you have semaglutide, tirzepatide, now that you have these fat weight loss products, right? Ozempic, Manjaro, whatever, that have turned into billion dollar products. You have all of these research chem sites popping up all over, wanting to cash in because, listen, a lot of people no. Hey man, if my insurance doesn't cover this, they want to charge me $400 a month. Well, guess what? You can go on this research chem site and get it. Hopefully it's real. And it'll be half the price. And that's why I think there'll be a lot more attention on all that stuff now. So George Clapney just told Mart Dog to look into berberine, metformin, and some other glucose disposal agents. So the reason that I brought up Glycolog is the original glucose disposal agent. All of the stuff outside of that are all copies, rip-offs. They all came after. The very first GDA that you saw on the market, they didn't even have a name for it. We came up with the name glucose disposal agent because places like Vitamin Shop and whatnot didn't even know what to do with it. Stores didn't even know what to do to put it on the shelves. So when Gorilla Chemist was designing it, I said I want to have a product that from a bodybuilding and fitness standpoint works like metformin and fast-acting insulin together. That would be the ideal combo. And that's the way that he designed it. And then we tested till we nailed it the right way. And one of the key ingredients in there is super berberine, which is basically has a highly brand cyclic dextrin attached to it, so it gets a liposomal style of delivery. Because regular berberine, you have to use more of it to get the right effect, and then it fucks your stomach up, excuse my language. So with a concentration in with that liposomal delivery, you have that trademarked, not my trademark, but we use the trademark super berberine, which works absolutely amazing. It actually will work literally as good as metformin. Metformin will not work better. It will work as good. They're essentially interchangeable. But the problem with metformin is that it will fuck your stomach up. Some people it doesn't. Some people it doesn't. Metformin wrecked my stomach. I could not get used to it. It gave me very bad stomach cramps and diarrhea, even at a lower dose. So now there's data that supports, you can see the data, you can go look for it yourself, that actually supports that super berberine, not just regular berberine, when broken down comparatively, literally does the exact same thing, but without the negative gastro side of things. Saki Chin, good morning. Nathan, what's he say? Blah, 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 blah. They can just make sure it's legal. Listen, I don't think that we'll see that happening, but it would be great if they did allow more of these performance enhancing things through medicine. A lot of HRT clinics are getting away with quite a bit, but unfortunately, there's a lot of makeup work that has to be done for the negative image that was put on testosterone for all these years. Some of you, if you've been following closely, may have seen that the black box warning has been removed from testosterone. So because of that, for years it was very difficult for people to actually get insurance to cover it. Now, there are people that do. You can do it through an endocrinologist, which is a whole pain in the ass. I know guys that do it that way, and they get it covered. through their insurance. But a lot of other people don't even want to bother with that. They just go the HRT clinic way. So listen, for years, doctors would tell you, oh, testosterone will give you a heart attack. So there's all of this time now that has to be made fixing all those years of bad press. I hope to see it happen. Unfortunately, the HRT clinics are all over the place now. Not dihydroberberine, George, but similar. More effective than the dihydroberberine. What should I do if I want to lose weight? Could you give me some advice? Well, I mean, the simplest thing I could tell you is to burn more calories than you can consume. That's the simplest thing that I could tell you that so many people don't do. They eat more than they burn. Now, how much you burn really depends on your lifestyle and what you're doing as far as your fitness. If you don't do anything fitness related, if you work on a computer all day and you don't do anything active, we're going to be burning a lot less calories than most people. You probably have a lower basal metabolic rate, which means you're not going to be able to eat a lot of food. So the more active you are, weight training, things like that, the better chance that you have of getting the weight off faster. But that's the simplest answer. I know some people, they're hoping that I'm going to say, take this or do this or eat this way, but it's just a big, broad spectrum of things that can go into it. But it really just comes down into burning more calories than you consume. What are your thoughts on berberine, metformin down regulating mTOR and IGF-1 and impacting gains or training adaptations? Haven't seen any of it on myself. So with exception to the 2 years that I was in prison, I've gotten religious blood work every 3 months, and I stay on the things that I like year round. So I stay on GH year round. I stay on the glycolog year round, and now the only time that I had a negative effect on really any of my labs was when I got out of prison and I was on a horrible program for food in prison. But my training goes really well. My IGF numbers are solid. They're not amazing, but they're solid. I definitely, since being home, have had lower A1C, and my actual insulin itself is very, very good. So I haven't had to think about, playing around with adding insulin in or worrying about my growth hormone causing any effects on my insulin production. I think that I'm not even going to say that you want to use one over the other as far as the metformin or glycolog type of product goes, because I actually, on paper, am a huge fan of metformin. Huge fan of metformin. I just can't handle the stomach aspect of it, so I wanted to figure out a way to get that benefit without that, and we accomplished it. Or I should say Gorilla Chemist, he was the one who designed it, not me. I won't take credit for it. I still think that was the most genius thing that he's ever designed all these years. I know he's since put out some other cool products for other companies, but what else? Go to the gym 3 times a week. Okay, well, that's good. Age Legend 28. That's very good that you're in the gym 3 times a week. I think is like a minimum number. If you could get another day in, that'd be great. But if you can't, that's okay. I would say at least 3 times a week. The more, the better. And you don't got to go to the gym 7 days a week, but some extra time in there would be good. But I'm glad that you're out active with friends doing sports. The diet, look, there's a reason why bodybuilders all eat around the same way, and it's because for what bodybuilders do, it's just a very efficient way to do things. And I've tried it all sorts of different ways. So as far as just being healthy goes, the right diet is the one that you'll follow. I never really go and bandstand on one certain diet. I don't understand why people do that. I'm not going to be like, fuck being vegan, vegans are pussies, even though I kind of feel that way. They are. I've not really met too many manly vegans, but I'm sure there are some great ones out there. And I'm not going to come out and say carnivore is the only way to do it. Now, I love to eat meat, so if I were to choose, I'd probably go to one over the other. I've done ketogenic diets. I've done it all. And the key is the one that you're going to follow and enjoy following. Personally, what I do now is I fast. Now, if I was trying to be a giant, freaky monster, I wouldn't do that because I used to have to eat around the clock to carry that size on. But that's not where I'm at. I want to be lean, I want to feel good, and I feel tremendous fasting and being without food. I feel better without food. So now I don't fast as extreme as I used to. If you guys have been following me for a long time, you remember that before I went to prison, I was fasting until 6 p.m. and I was only eating until 11. Now I stayed very lean, but coming home, I wanted to be in a position to be able to put a little bit of muscle back, get muscle that I lost back. So I typically only fast until 2 p.m. And honestly, now that I got myself down to a relatively low body fat is relative. I mean, it's low for society's standards. It's not low for where I've been over the years competing and whatnot, but now that I've gotten myself to a low enough number, I've actually been starting eating around 12 because I would like to get a little bit more muscle on. And I also have been going to bed earlier, so I've kind of changed that around. Now, personally, fasting is easy for me because I don't have a big appetite. That may not be the way to go for you, but I'll tell you that the most important thing if you do decide to go into a fast is that you keep the same window every day. I've talked to people that are like, I'm fasting, and they change their windows around. Can't do that. Can't do that. So if you're going to do, the most common fast is a 16-hour fast, right? So you got a 24-hour day, you're going to eat for 8 hours, and you pick the time. Some people do 12 to 8, very common. You know, I personally do 2 to 10. I usually wind up stopping around 9:30, have my shake, and that's it. Now, one of the reasons, though, that I do like the fast is you can have more freedom with the variety that you eat, because unless you're really stuffing yourself, you're not going to be able to overeat in that window. You'll keep yourself in a deficit. So you can have a little bit more freedom with what you eat. But I will tell you, men typically respond well to more varieties of diets. Women, I have had very little success with ketogenic diets with women. I've had tremendous success with carb cycling approaches with women, or a Mediterranean style approach. Bolshoi, what's going on? What did PJ do to Bobby Lupo? Draco, what's going on? Did I know that Michael Keaton's real name is Michael Douglas? He had to change his last name to Keaton. Wow, that is amazing information. Bolshoi, I have one for you. Before I get off, I'm not going to stay on too long today. Like I said, easing my way back in. Got the brace on right now. Back's feeling okay. I had no idea all these years that the movie A Bronx Tale is a true story, and the character who played Sonny in the movie, Chaz Palminteri, his real name is Calogero, and he wrote that movie. He wrote that story of his life. I had no idea. I found this out all these years later. One of my favorite movies as a younger man, as a boy actually, even watching that movie as a kid. Always loved that movie. My little sister loved that movie too. Had no idea. No idea. Bolshoi, you probably knew that though, because you know all this stuff. Nathan says, I've been fasting 20 hours a day with a 4-hour eating window for about 5 years now. Life has improved because of it. Listen, when I got really into my fasts, that was when my blood work started really looking good. Started looking phenomenal. And I felt good. My energy was great. I personally responded great to it. Especially for my own personal goals. Did you know that James Cameron casted James Gandolfini for DiCaprio's role in Titanic? No way. That's too funny. That's too funny. AJ Legend, you're welcome. I'm happy to help. That's all I'm here for, guys, is answering questions, helping out. But anyway, I'm going to pop up off here. More doctor's appointments for Baby Enzo today. So wish us luck with his little hips. Another thing that you can do, AJ, this is another thing I recommend people do, especially if you're new to this, is get yourself an app. I think the one that everybody uses now, I was talking about this with somebody the other day. I think it's called MyFitnessPal. There's a free app, and start tracking all your food in there so you can see where your calories are. Because most of the time when I tell people to do this, this is what happens all the time. I tell people to do this, and then after like a few days, they text me or they write me, and they say, holy shit, I had no idea that this was this many calories, blah, blah, blah. Most of my friends that don't listen to me, I tell them to do this stuff, right? And they always contact me shocked at a lot of the random shit that they do. Like I had a buddy who buys these big bags of nuts from Costco, the fancy nuts, and he polishes them off like every few days, right? And he was like, man, I thought that nuts were such a good snack. I have no idea how it all added up the way I was doing it. And just from adjusting that, he started losing weight. So get yourself one of those and start tracking it so you can see for yourself. And those little things like that will make a big difference. George, thank you. Have an awesome day as well. I'm going to finish out this last 30 seconds here. And I'll be back on tomorrow. Feels good to be back on here. My back is actually feeling good. I'm happy. Had a good workout today. So hopefully no more tweaks with this damn thing. No more tweaks. What else is going on before I get off here? I'm going to try to be on around 9, AJ Legends. Typically, the goal is to be on here every day at 9 a.m. It may change here and there. Right now, I'm kind of basing it around the baby. And I'm wanting to do these walks with Marissa and the baby, which this is the kind of time of the day that works out best for her and the baby around his feedings and whatnot. So probably be around 9-ish, maybe a little bit after 9. But every Monday through Friday, I'll be on here answering questions. Cardio Q&A. I appreciate you guys coming on here and hanging out. I love you all, as I always say. God bless all you guys. Peace out. Bye. We'll see you tomorrow.